subscribe my channel, like, share and comments.
On our honeymoon, my husband and I traveled to a remote fishing village and rented a quaint cottage for privacy. Mark is an avid fisherman, and while I enjoy seafood, I prefer to read or write while he enjoys his passion. Once we arrived, we unpacked and lit a fire in preparation for a romantic wedding night. A thunderstorm started whipping up and we decided to huddle in front of the fire and share haunted stories, for fun. Later on, while Mark slept soundly, I tossed and turned, experiencing extreme anxiety for some reason. Not wanting to disturb him, I got up and padded down to the kitchen to make a soothing cup of peppermint tea. While I sipped my tea, I heard tapping on the glass door. At first I thought it was a branch from one of the trees. It only took me a minute to realize that the tapping was coming from what I thought were human knuckles. I went over to the door slowly, dropping my tea as a flash of lightning lit up the patio, revealing a figure at the door. I screamed when I saw her terrifying face. As the lightning continued to flash, I saw a wild-haired female with her palms on the glass glaring intently at me. I yelled, "What do you want?" watching her crazy, curly hair thrashing around in the wind while she focused on me. Chills ran down my spine when her mouth stretched into an evil grin. Then she slammed the glass with her hands. I ran up the stairs and woke Mark up, pleading with him to follow me downstairs and confront the woman. He raced down ahead of me and protectively held his hand out to hold me back, before going to the door. I looked over his shoulder and saw that she had disappeared. He turned the lights on and grabbed a flashlight. He told me to stay put while he searched the property. I stood shaking in fear as I waited for him to return. When he came back inside, dripping wet, he was a little peeved with me. "There's nothing out there." I tried to explain that I hadn't hallucinated the woman, but he talked me into coming back to bed with him. He was soon snoring away and I continued to lie there in a full-blown state of anxiety, while the storm raged on. I began to finally drift off to sleep as the tapping began again. I didn't wake Mark because I didn't want to annoy him. I got up and slowly crept down the stairs. When I reached the bottom, I peered around the corner to look at the door. I could still hear the tapping, but she wasn't there. I crept closer to the door and puzzled over where she was. Turning around to turn the lights on, I couldn't believe my eyes. There she was, inside the house, glaring at me. I screamed and backed against the door, horrified to still feel the tapping on the glass while she stomped towards me. The lightning continued flashing while her hair flowed around her face, whipped up by the wind now blowing inside. She was dripping wet and her evil eyes were staring and menacing. Her mouth once again stretched into an evil grin. Too petrified to scream again, I slid down the door and started shaking uncontrollably while her mouth opened wide. Horrified to see that she had no teeth, her mouth was like a deep, black hole and I felt like I was being sucked in. A terrible sound, like a hellish vortex, filled the air, while the woman closed in and leaned over me. I thought I was going to be absorbed through her mouth. I felt like I was swirling upwards, until the lights came on. I opened my eyes and saw Mark looking down. The creepy, ghostly woman was gone, but to this day, I can still feel the terrifying vortex waiting for me.